I know that people talk about us because of the show, who would date, you know, whatever's happening in our lives. But it's always interesting for me, and I talked about this recently, for me to read the stuff about myself that are just false.
The game just pulled the disappearing act on Evelyn Lozada's daughter, Chenise. And let's just say, Evelyn is not taking it lightly. You know, when she pops off, it's about to be a whole movie. So, here's the deal. The game and Chenise had been turning heads for a while. At first, it looked like they were really into each other, but if you know Game's history, you know he doesn't exactly have the best track record when it comes to relationships. He's been known to charm women, make big promises, and then he was out. And unfortunately for Chenise, she became his latest casualty. But here's where it gets messy. Word on the street is the game led her on, made her believe they had a future, and then did a full 180 when things got serious. And get this, he didn't just break things off like a normal person. He went full ghost mode, cutting ties while Chenise was still dealing with everything that came after their relationship, and y'all already know Evelyn wasn't about to sit back and let that slide. The moment she got wind of what was happening, she went all in. Because if there's one thing about Evelyn, she's gonna protect her daughter at all costs.
Some of this stuff is crazy to read. Anyway, my message got cut off. Anyway, the point is that yeah, you know, take the stuff you read with a grain of salt, you know, and really think about you as a person, right? When you read things and you're passionate about it, or you really believe it, and you're saying, oh, okay, let me go to that person's page to really tell them about themselves.
Now let's rewind for a second. When the game and Chenise first started dating, people were side-eyeing the whole thing. Some thought it was love, others thought Chenise was just another name on the game's long list of flings. And honestly, given his reputation, who could blame them? So it looked like the game and Chenise's relationship came out of nowhere. One minute he was living his single, playboy life, and the next he was all over Chenise. They were spotted together at events, posting mysterious messages on social media and giving fans just enough to think something serious was brewing. But hold up, things started to heat up, or at least that's what Chenise thought. The game was showering her with attention, making her feel like she was the one. He's known for being super charming, and it seemed like he was really turning it on for her. Private dinners, fancy gifts, and flirty posts that had everyone buzzing. He made sure everyone knew she was on his radar. At first, Chenise was all in. She was glowing, dropping hints that she found something real and looking genuinely happy whenever she was with Game. But anyone who knew his history could see this was his usual game. He would do the same with other women before giving them just enough attention to feel special, then pulling back when things got serious. And sure enough, as soon as rumors started flying that Chenise wanted to take things to the next level, the game started acting differently. People close to them noticed he wasn't the same. This is where it gets messy because Game has a rep for being non-committal. And that's exactly what happened here. Sources say the game gave her the whole forever and always spiel, only to switch it up real quick. At first, he had her convinced they were building something special, but when it was time to step up, he vanished. And it wasn't just a simple breakup, it was a full-on ghosting. One day they were together, and the next it was like Chenise didn't even exist to him. No explanation, no closure, nothing. The game went completely silent, leaving her confused, heartbroken, and totally blindsided. Let's be real, this isn't the first time the game has pulled a stunt like this. He gets involved, makes a woman feel secure, and then he's off to the next, leaving her to deal with the fallout. But it got even worse for Chenise. Not only was she dealing with the emotional mess of the breakup, but she also had to face public embarrassment. The game didn't just disappear, he started moving on in front of everyone. And if there's anything worse than being dumped, it's being dumped in front of the whole world. People noticed the game out and about, posting pics, hanging with other women, and acting like Chenise was never even in the picture. While she was still trying to figure out what happened, he was back to his usual routine, flirting online, dropping cryptic captions, and making it clear he wasn't looking back. And you know what happens next? When Evelyn found out the game had done her daughter dirty like this, she was not about to let it slide.
This is the last thing I'm finna say. The man posting the baby and not posting you, and you posting the man and not posting the baby, is all I needed to know. The cleanup that Evelyn played on her Instagram. Good job, Grandma. The grandmother's the baby at this point.
All right, so if you know anything about Evelyn Lozada, you know she's super protective of her family. She's built a whole reputation for being fierce and not afraid to speak her mind. So when she found out that the game was messing around with her daughter, you just knew she was ready to go off. Sources say Evelyn was beyond furious when she heard how the game treated Chenise. And honestly, can you blame her? Going through a messy breakup is one thing, but getting ghosted like that, especially in front of everyone, that's just straight up disrespect. And Evelyn wasn't about to let that slide. Let me tell you, she didn't hold back. Evelyn made it clear that the game picked the wrong person to mess with. She called him out, exposed his shady behavior, and made sure everyone knew she wasn't going to let her daughter be disrespected. Word on the street is that Evelyn went full-on mama bear mode, telling her friends she never trusted the game from the start. She had a bad vibe about him, but didn't want to interfere in Chenise's life since she's an adult. But once things went south, oh, it was game over. She confronted the game, making it clear she wasn't playing around. No pun intended. And you know Evelyn isn't the type to keep quiet. She made sure to let everyone know what kind of guy he really is, whether it was through shady social media posts or gossip in the industry. Honestly, this whole situation brought back the conversation about the game's habit of stringing women along and then disappearing when it suits him. This isn't new news, but for Evelyn, it was all about protecting her daughter. But wait, there's another angle to this. Some people are saying Chenise knew what she was getting into with the game. Rumor has it she wasn't just looking for love, she was looking for a come-up. Now, we can't say for sure if that's true, but let's be real, the game has a history of leaving women hanging, and if Chenise thought she'd be the exception, that might have been a bit naive. Some folks think Chenise saw an opportunity. Dating a famous rapper comes with perks, money, connections, clout. While it's possible she thought the game was serious about her, it's also likely she knew exactly what she was signing up for. And that's where it gets complicated, because while the game definitely did her dirty, some people think Chenise was playing her own game too. The entertainment world is full of people trying to secure a bag, and some believe Chenise wasn't just a victim, she was a willing participant who just happened to get burned in the end.
I love my kids, man. It's just, I don't know, I love them to death, man. I love them so much. I really do. They like little me's walking around this mother. You know what I'm saying? I love them to death. So I gotta have at least 2 more kids before I call it a wrap, man. I gotta do it. I got to do it, man.
Just when you thought the drama was cooling off, the game jumped on Instagram and started dropping some pretty wild posts. You know the kind, those vague messages guys throw out when they're feeling guilty but don't want to own up to anything? Yeah, he was definitely in that zone. One of his first posts was about jobless, entitled women always having something to say when things go south. Like, hold up, jobless and entitled? Who are you talking about, dude? The timing was way too sketchy for this to be random. Then he followed up with another post about how some women are just in it for the perks, cars, vacations, gifts. It was giving off major I got played vibes. And let's be real, he wasn't being subtle at all. He knew everyone would think he was talking about Chenise. Whether he meant to stir the pot or not, it definitely got people buzzing. Some fans were all for him, saying he's always been generous in relationships and maybe Chenise just wanted too much. Others called him out for being messy and immature. I mean, come on, this is a grown man we're talking about. Instead of just moving on quietly, he was out here throwing shade on Instagram like a heartbroken teen. But here's the kicker, Evelyn Lozada wasn't about to let the game make her daughter look like a gold digger. She had her own way of setting things straight. Now, Evelyn could easily gone off on the game like she has with past foes, but this time, she took a different route. Instead of diving into the drama, she made it clear that her focus was on her family. She hopped on social media and started celebrating the birth of her grandson, Blaze Taylor, and let me tell you, she made sure that everyone knew she was in a great place, surrounded by love and blessing. It was like she was saying, you may have dumped my daughter, but we're good over here, and honestly, we love to see it. Because at the end of the day, Evelyn knows how this industry works. She's seen relationships come and go. She's dealt with messy breakups before, and she understands that the best revenge isn't always clapping back. Her message was loud and clear. While the game was out here sub-posting like a bitter ex, she was focused on what really mattered, her family. And that's how you really win in situations like this.
I did whatever I had to do to, put my hand in the middle of, helping out Flint when I was chose to, man. So I always try to, help out.
Now let's be real. Was the game wrong for how he handled things? Absolutely. Leading someone on, making them feel special, and then disappearing like a magician? Yeah, that's not a good look. But here's a question. Was Chenise just an innocent victim in all this, or was she playing chess while the game was playing checkers? Because let's not forget, dating a high-profile rapper comes with perks, and some people think Chenise knew exactly what she was doing from the jump. At the end of the day, this whole situation is messy, and we know Evelyn isn't about to let it slide anytime soon. If Game thought this drama was over, he might want to think again. So now I gotta ask y'all, was the game in the wrong, or was Chenise trying to lock in that bag? And do y'all think Evelyn went too far, or was she just being a protective mama bear? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest tea.